Hello, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We are here on another Sunday evening for the late night talk show. Myself and Jono, former teammates and former drivers at One Hub, here to discuss the events of round 18 in USA. And Jono, it's a circuit that you've won a championship at before, so I'm guessing you hold it with fond memories.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, win the championship. Wherever you win it, you're going to have fond memories. But it is a decent circuit, as I was saying in the commentary on Friday night. I think, as the modern generation of F1 circuits go, I think this is at the top, isn't it? Or towards the top anyway, with most drivers. Obviously made up of bits of other circuits, and perhaps doesn't quite get to their level, the likes of Silverstone. But it's pretty good track in its own right. I always enjoy driving there.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those tracks you can always, as we saw on Friday, you can always have a good battle on. I know myself and you, when we were teammates, had a good battle here back in the seasons ago. It's one of those corners you can, do the cutback and then the switchback and then go down the inside. And, as long as you are respectful, then you can go side by side, for 3 or 4 corners towards the last sector there.
Yeah, definitely. You've obviously got the big braking zone into turn 12, but then turns 13, 14, 15, it's great. It's just designed and set up for the cutback. As you say, you can go into the corner deep, switch back, and we saw plenty of that, especially in the Pinnacle tier race I was watching. There was loads of that going on, and it's really good to watch. And I know from first-hand experience, it's really fun to drive as well when you've got clean racing with another driver through that section.
Yeah, when I was watching the Pinnacle race back, I was sometimes I try and skip past the quiet bits, but I wasn't able to. It was amazing just to see how close it was, just non-stop battling. And I know in the prestige tier, Jono, we'll come to that in a minute, but you're talking you go through half a race when most people have stopped or come to stop, and everyone's still within DRS range. It's just it's crazy close out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was doing the same thing. 20 laps into the race or whatever, and you look down the left-hand side, and everyone's within sort of a second or less than a second of each other, all the way from the front to the back. You think, wow, how can we have pit stops and 20 odd laps of racing, and everyone still be just within that distance? And that just builds the tension for the driver. It's literally one mistake, and you can go from podium to back of the grid.
Yeah, and speaking of mistakes, we did see a few on Friday night, but we're going to discuss it. And then we will be getting 2 champions that have been crowned in at about 1:45 when we finish discussing the races. So we've got Danestar who wrapped up the podium tier to be crowned drivers champion. And then we also have Julian who wrapped up the prestige tier, our top tier, to become the champion of champions. And we'll chat to them and find out how they're feeling. Interestingly, Jono, all drivers' championships are now wrapped up, but we still got 2 constructors to be decided.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, USA often seems to be the scene of the championships being sewn up, and obviously we've seen it in real life as well. And so, yeah, all the drivers' championships sorted, but as you mentioned, still 2 constructors' championships that are up for grabs.
Alrighty, so let's head over to the podium tier. Driller Doc coming back, and it was interesting to see strategy. Some drivers opting for the ultras, some opting for the supers. We do know in the latest patch from Codemasters, that it has helped tire temps, and we think that's why some drivers went on those ultra soft tires. But real interesting mix of strategy, particularly in the podium tier. So Drill Dot taking pole, Coleman taking second, Danestar in third, CXY in fourth, Bougie, good to see him back in fifth, Jamie in sixth, good qualifying session from him, has to be said. Stevie in seventh, D-Boy Dan in eighth, Nathan qualifying inside the top 10 for the first time, I believe, in his second race, and Nick just 10th. Jonas, disappointing for him, and Liam as well. Those are 2 drivers you'd perhaps expect to see up there.
Yeah, definitely. It can't always go your way, I guess. And the real mix of tire strategy in this tier, particularly, I think it did mix up the quality a bit as well, didn't it? So some drivers perhaps out of position purely by running the better race tire, they thought anyway. A few drivers go for the ultra soft. We know the tire wear is affected with the recent patch, but I think when we got into the race, it still proved to not be as good a race strategy overall as perhaps those starting on the supers.
Yeah, alrighty. So let's head on because at the start, John, I want to talk to you about this. Colo Man, starting in second, on his second race, I believe. He had what seems to be a brake failure at turn 1. You see him just go straight on. Luckily, he doesn't collect him, and straight into the wall and DNF. How disappointed would he be with that? Did he have he must have had like a trigger or a brake problem or something, and his race was over.
Really, really strange. Obviously, be absolutely fuming about it. I mean, it's annoying enough if it's your own mistake, but the fact that it appears to be just an issue with the game or whatever, I'm not sure, must be really frustrating for him. And I think Scorpion had a very similar thing, didn't he, a couple of rounds ago in the Pinnacle tier? I don't think it was any hardware issue with his controller or anything. I think it was just a sort of one-off thing with the game. So yeah, not quite sure what's going on there, but obviously gutting for him and made great qualifying front row. And then race over, literally in the blink of an eye, a few seconds in.
Yeah, definitely. Now, there was something in this stream, Jonah, that I wanted to show you and get your thoughts on. And I'm just trying to find it. It was the two Renaults. I thought it was lap 4, but it must be later than that. The two Renaults went side by side all the way around what is meant to be kind of a copy of Turn 8 in Istanbul. So maybe it's lap 8 that it happens. Nope, I thought it was.
Yeah, I remember seeing it earlier.
Do you remember seeing it?
I don't remember what lap it was either.
In my memory, I'm sure it was lap 4, but I can't seem to see it.
Lap 7. Got the Renaults going side by side in the third sector, lap 7.
No, it was definitely
all the way around
the last 17. Sector. So let's skip on a bit and see if we can see him next to each other on track. Because at the time I was going to say, and we've had battles around this track, Jono, but even I don't think I'd want to go side by side with you through there. No offense, but it's not one of those corners, that is very forgiving if you have an incident at high speed. All right, so we're on lap. Here we go. I think it's lap 14, Jono.
Okay.
Because they're next to each other. And nope, must further be on. So lap 14 they get next to each other. Oh, this is frustrating. Should have written it down. Getting old, Jono.
Yeah, I can't
trust my memory.
Yeah, either way, it's always scary going side by side, with anybody in that corner, but especially with your teammate as well. I guess if you're on party chat, you can sort of say I'm staying to the right or I'm staying to the left. But yeah, either way, if it goes wrong and you make contact at that sort of speed, then it's likely to end in tears.
It definitely is. Nathan retiring early on as well. But overall, Jonah, another good race. Lots of overtaking, lots of, drivers being respectful. I thought lots of fair overtaking as well. There were a few, iffy moves where you wince a little bit. But let's talk about Dane's start because he comes across the line. He's weaving. He was weaving down the back straight.
Yeah, he was.
He must be so happy the championship's all his.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has been the man to beat, hasn't he, for most of the season. But, unlike Sam, I guess, in the Pinnacle tier, who's sort of, you've always felt under control at times, people have questioned, Dane's style. He's had a couple of iffy results and, it's always seemed like it was within his grasp. But maybe there was a few doubts there. So, I think that just showed, as you mentioned, he was celebrating with half a lap to go. He'll be absolutely delighted that he's got it done in the USA, and now he's got a few races just to relax and enjoy himself at the end of the season.
Yeah, obviously, he's still got to fight for that constructors, but they did extend their lead over Ferrari, I believe. Yeah, Jonas finishing 8th and CXY finishing 2nd, so just extended their lead on that. Dane's still the only driver not to get a penalty as well, so well done to him. Driller Doc finishing 3rd, so had a couple of moments, couple of spins, so perhaps car setup not being the kindest. Stevie in 4th, another good result for the Renault driver. Buji in 5th, Jamie in 6th. He'll be happy with that. I think that's his best result since Hungary. Nick in 7th, Jonas in 8th, Liam in 9th. White Eagle scoring a point in 10th. It's been a while since he's been in a point, so well done to him. You can vote for all your driver of the days on Twitter for each tier at One Hub Racing. But Jono, let's head over to your tier, and this definitely has to be one of my favourite races of the season. Interestingly, in qualifying though, they all went for the ultra soft tyre, which is a big contrast to the podium tier.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the tyre to go for, wasn't it? Don Cool, by the look of it, is the first person not to, and he was starting down in 13th, so out of position for him. So we obviously thought he'd bolt on some softs and do something a little bit different. But yeah, everyone else on the ultra soft.
So Mally taking pole position again, Reflow just behind. Matt in 3rd, good result, the Sol Ferrari. Abrimium in 4th position, Brodinho in 5th, Jura in 6th, Iron West in 7th, TK in 8th, Chopper in 9th, Lukey in 10th, rounding out the top 10. As I said, they were all on ultra soft tyres. Now, there was another something here that I wanted to discuss with you, and I'm sure it was on lap 8, but as we've already previously seen, my memory is not the best. So obviously we started on intermediate conditions for these guys. They were all struggling quite a bit. Reflow, as we've seen, he seems to be the man in those conditions though.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Always looks comfortable in those conditions, and they did look really tricky. Kieran was mentioning on the stream that it didn't look really wet enough for the inters to work properly, and when he rode on board with people, they were struggling so much for grip. That first sector, which is normally such a high speed aggressive sector through his S's, they were just taking it so cautiously through there. So it really was difficult conditions early on, and we saw Don Call having quite a few moments, quite quick, but also quite a few issues. But Reflow, yeah, all looked to be well under control.
That's what I was going to talk to you about. Don Call, we often see the rear of his car so slidey. And obviously it must be the way he sets his car up. But, we've seen him make not fatal mistakes, but race-ending mistakes before. And do you think maybe he needs to look at his setups and say, look, give a bit of speed up, but I need that consistency and a bit more stability in, changing conditions like this?
Yeah, I think almost certainly you've got to sort of learn from your mistakes, I guess, haven't you? And I think at Spa as well, he really struggled in the wet. And yeah, as soon as the conditions seem to go like this, he still looks reasonably quick, but has no confidence and just keeps losing the rear. As you say, I don't know if it's too much ballast to the rear of the car or brake bias or whatever, but whatever it is, it just keeps catching him out in the wet. So yeah, perhaps if we get another wet race before the end of the season, it might be worth making a few changes to the car to just try and get it a bit more stable in the wet.
Everyone going to the soft tyre except for Scorpion and It's Heskey Time. It's Heskey Time obviously committing to a 2-stop. I'm pretty sure Scorpion at that point, might have committed to it unless he thought he could take him to the end. But Mally having that incident, having to come into the pits. Don Call choosing to go into the pits and then had the close of speed and got caught out with wing damage. Meanwhile, Jora and West up in the top 5 throughout the race. Reflow just sailing off into distance. And then It's Heskey Time. As much as he could have fought through the field later on, he had that incident which really cost him with I believe it was White Fountain and TK maybe.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. But as they crossed the line, the results changed dramatically. Reflow obviously took the win over 10 seconds. Bromadinho in 2nd, Matt in 3rd. Iron West, good result for him, Jono. In 4th, he seems to have suited quite well to this tier.
Yeah, he had really good pace, and at the end of the race, he really was, flying and making really good progress. So yeah, he looks well suited to this tier. He's definitely got the pace, as he's shown already early on, even to be battling, for those podium positions before long, I think.
Alrighty, so Joel made up the top 5. Mally recovered to 6th position. Chopper in 7th, but he has gone to stewards about removing a penalty that could potentially give him a podium. Scorpion in 8th. White Fountain recovers inside the points, and Lukey takes the final point after going forever on those soft tyres that he pitted onto. Alright, Jono, prestige tier. Again, the top 7 on ultra soft tyres. And we saw Julie in 8th, Neil in 9th, MLA in 10th, choosing the supers. of course, outside the top 10, they can choose their own tyre. But what a lap from Francis, a 29.7. I mean, no one really expected that.
Yeah, that was a mighty lap, wasn't it? We haven't seen him on pole too often, I don't think, this season. But yeah, that was a fantastic lap and got it there by just under 2/10 in the end.
Yeah, and as they got underway, McSendit, Rafa got up immediately, so he dropped down. Obviously, two drivers having their home race, Odems and McSendit, has to be said, so they were being pushed on by the home crowd. In the Pinnacle race, Jono, we saw some, really good, particularly the first lap. For one of the first times this season was really clean, whereas the first couple laps, Blizzard was in the wall. And then the incident I wanted to talk to you about was when Blizzard retired, because he was with the two Williams. One Williams went to let the other one through. Blizzard then went to go down the inside. Let me find it on stream. So he's retired there. So I'm going to write these down next time. And where are they? All right, so go to it's lap 4. It's lap 4. Yeah. 4. And has it just happened? Yeah, so lap 4 down the main straight. You want to go to, if anyone's watching, head to about 28 minutes and 20 seconds on the stream. And you can see it. So Neo goes to go down the inside, then he realizes his teammate's letting him through, Scott Fielder. Blizzard goes to the inside, doesn't see him, and just goes straight into the back of the Williams. I've never seen that before, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he just got completely caught out there, didn't he? As you say, just completely unsighted. Didn't expect the Williams to be there in his way, and absolute disaster for Blizzard. And it just seems he either wins or has a terrible result. There seems to be not much in between at the moment for Blizzard.
Yeah, definitely. And as the race went on, obviously we had the guys that started on the softs up front, and then you've got the guys at supers behind that. Everyone on ultras obviously have to pitting prior, and then it turned into a bit of a fight back through the field, didn't it, for some of those ultra soft runners? And there were some good moves, some good and on the limit, but there were also some of those moves where it's my car's coming down the inside of you, whether you like it or not. So yeah,
you can't literally just throw your car down the inside and expect the other car to have to dive out the way. That's not what you call a fair overtake, is it? You've got to actually make the move cleanly. You can't just rely on the other car to have to bail. So there were, plenty of good overtakes as well, but there definitely were a few slightly dodgy ones thrown in as well.
Yeah, obviously the main, drivers we talk about are Julian and Francis. We'll speak to Julian in a minute. Once Blizzard retired, it didn't matter where he finished. He was going to win the championship. Obviously, Red Bull and Sauber are still in play for the constructors, but both Mercedes ending up retiring. So the gap was definitely closed. Not a good day for them, and just a bit of a messy end to the race, for a few drivers, and that battle between Francis and Julian. The more you watched it, the more you realized you knew exactly how this was going to end.
Yeah, definitely. We know Francis, he is an aggressive driver, isn't he? And he just did not want to let Julian through. Julian did manage to get through a few times, but then Francis would just come straight back at him with some real, sort of aggressive moves to try and repass as quick as he could. And you could just sense the frustration building up from the body language of Julian's car. Sorry, he was getting a bit frustrated, and he obviously thought he was quicker, but was getting held up. And it was all got a little bit tense between those two, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely did. I don't know about yourself, Jono, but if I had the amount of penalties that say Francis had, I'd want to have a good battle, not do what happened, because your race is kind of over when you've got that many penalties and the field is this close.
Yeah, battling beyond the limit is completely pointless, isn't it? Because he was racking up so many penalties, and even during the battle, he was getting more time penalties as well. So he was still, going over the track limits. So he must have known that he'd lost to Julian either way. So quite why he was being as aggressive as he was, I don't really know. I guess racing drivers do what racing drivers do, don't they? You still want to battle, tooth and nail, despite the fact, I guess, you're going to get leaped at the end. And yeah, he obviously didn't want to give up on that position at all, did he? Penalties or not.
Speaking of leaps, Odems crossed the line first but was denied by McSendit. That's the second time this season, isn't it, that Odems has crossed the line? He did it in Hungary and then got jumped by the guy in second. So, good job, Odems, but not quite close enough for your first win of the season. McSendit took the win, Odems in second, so American 1-2. Josh in third, so VSR 1-2-3. Rafa jumped up with no penalties up to fourth. Squeezy in fifth. Jesse finished in sixth, moving up from 12th position. Sculpt Feeder and James Slater both in the points. Jonah, let's have a quick mention about them. That they keep plodding on, even they have poor races. They know they don't perhaps have the pace to challenge the top 8, say, but they just don't give up. Both of them finished with no penalties, and they were obviously rewarded for points of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about just maximising what you can do and not giving up, and it's a good example of that. And the tier is just so crazy fast. Drop them into most other races, and they'd be winning or getting podiums, wouldn't they? And despite the crazy pace of these drivers, they're finishing 23 seconds off the lead for Scope Fielder. So not too bad at all, is it, to be that close to the winner? But yeah, it just shows how tough this is, that you can still be within pretty much 20 seconds and be down towards the bottom end of the points.
Alrighty, let's get some champions in to join us, Jono. Alrighty, so obviously we crowned Sam last week, Jono. We chatted to him in the talk show last Sunday, and now we've crowned 2 further champions. So all 3 champions are obviously new champions. They haven't won the championship before, so they'll be having that feeling that you and I have both experienced, Jono. And welcome, Julian and Dane. Just make sure you have your audio set to be shared. Obviously we are live, so just remember not to swear. Dane, we'll start with you. It looked like you were going to walk this championship early on. Everyone was calling for you to be moved up to the pinnacle tier. Your form dipped in the middle of the season, but you showed signs of pace, and eventually you closed it out with a dominant performance in USA. How does it feel? How was it when you crossed the line?
Felt great. Felt really great to finally be world champion after the season. We had some very up points and some very low points. So, been a great season overall, and to be world champion feels really, really good.
Awesome stuff. Was there any doubt in your mind as the season went on that you didn't think you were going to be able to do it?
Not really. I just thought I've had a bit of bad luck in some of the races. I've kind of messed up sometimes, but I always knew that as long as I still keep that race win gap in the championship, I'm still gonna win it. So I had a tiny bit, not really much doubt, just needed to keep concentrating.
Good stuff. And obviously it's been 20 odd weeks since qualifying night for season 12. First of all, did you think you'd be in a position to achieve what you've achieved on Friday? And B, did it really feel like a tough, long, draining season?
Start of qualifying night, it's about like 17 weeks ago, crazy. Thought it was gonna be like a guy that'll be fighting for podiums, which are the lineups this season. So when I was actually on the pace and was actually winning races, it was kind of surprising, and I was really happy about it because I knew I had pace. So yeah, really good season.
Awesome stuff. All right, Julian, we'll come over to you. Many congratulations for your championship. You've gone from on the last game, a top four, getting inside the top 5. But on this game, it seemed as soon as it came out, you were on the pace. Did you do something different in your preparations for the season? And second question, obviously disappointing race on Friday, but how glad are you that the championship's finally sealed?
First of all, thank you very much for the congratulations. To be honest, last game I was kind of sweating it, but this season I'm taking it way more calm and steady, and just practice 1 hour for a race approximately, and not more. And I think that actually paid off. And yeah, I'm way more consistent than I was last year. And to the second question, I don't know what to say about that race. It was just, I don't really want to say it, but it was bizarre against me. Francis turned out to be a madman and just to hold me up that I don't fight the top three, which I obviously had done because I had the freshest tires and I was the fastest man on track. But yeah, that's it.
Obviously, being the top tier, Julian, it was some tough competition. But whilst the others faltered, as you mentioned, you had such consistency. You had a 3-week break. Did you ever? Obviously, you knew you were going to be away for 3 weeks. MLA did tell me. I didn't tell anyone else. But did you worry a bit that when you come back, the championship lead could be almost down to nothing, or did you feel that the others would slip up in your absence still?
I knew very early that I will be away for 3 weeks, and that's why I thought I have to create a gap to make sure that I'm still in front when I came back, and that actually worked. I didn't thought that because Blizzard has amazing pace and is arguably the fastest guy on this game, but I actually managed to create that gap, and then I came back. I expected that he will win these 3 races, but he won 2 and DNF'd 1. That's 25 points less scored for him. So the gap was still very huge and enough to wrap up the title in the USA, and that's why I'm very happy.
Awesome. Before we go to Jono for a question, Jess has a question for you both. What was Dane? We'll start with you. What was your hardest race of the season?
One that I finished.
Yeah, go on then. The toughest one you finished, yeah.
Probably gonna be France, because the tire wear management was just awful and I qualified on the wrong tires. Just had zero pace at all. So yeah, that was definitely hardest race of the season to bear and not rage quit.
And Julian, same question to
you. I think Baku, because I collided with MLA in the quali and I had to start around P10 or something. It was also the the worst race of the season, but yeah, we both grew on that experience, and yeah, that's why MLA and me are in the position we are now.
Awesome. Jenna, do you have a question for both champs?
Yeah, sure. Daystar first, I guess. Obviously, Nick mentioned that you had a great start to the season and then perhaps a little bit of a dip in the middle. And even I, not racing in the tier, was aware of people saying, oh, his tyre wear is maybe not good enough, and it's going to fall away. Were you aware of people perhaps voicing those things and perhaps trying to get into your head a little bit, or did it not bother you and you just ignored it and got on with business?
Didn't bother me because I could have managed tire wears and was trying to make sure I didn't mess them up. But I had a feeling that was going to be worded around a lot, but wasn't really bothered. Just wanted to keep my head down and keep trying to do the best I can.
Okay, cool. And then the opposite, I guess, to Jess's question, obviously, bar winning the championship, which is obviously a highlight. Do you have any other standout moment, a race that you thought went brilliantly, your best result of the season, perhaps?
Say Bahrain. That was really, really good race because I had a lot of pace there. Really fun.
Okay, cool. And Julian, obviously, congratulations on the championship as well, and obviously to do it in the prestige tier against so many just ridiculously quick drivers makes it just all the more impressive. What would you put it down to if you have one thing? Like you've ended up winning the championship. with a few rounds to go against drivers who are winning races left, right, and centre elsewhere, what do you think you put it down to? How have you managed to put it out and dominate the season as you have?
Um, Hard to say, actually. I think it's just my consistency and the other drivers making mistakes here and there. And that's why I created a gap. And yeah, I think that's it.
And same for you, do you have a standout result for the season that you've sort of enjoyed the most?
I'd say Hungary because
I knew he was going to say that.
I undercutted Francis and Blizzards to get in front of these two, and in the end, I was matching times with Odims. Then he got a penalty, and I won the race. Amazing.
You broke his heart that night, you know that. All right, I got a question for you both. Obviously, the Constructors' Championship is still open in both your tiers. Dane, we'll start with you. You extended it slightly in the last race in USA, even though Gaza wasn't there. Easy enough for you and your Red Bull teams to close this one out, you think?
Yeah, we have like a 69-point gap now, I think, 69, 70. So, final races of the season goes. If we both turn up and have very good results, as long as we outscore the Ferraris, then the constructors could be ours easily.
Awesome stuff. And Julian, obviously, both Mercedes didn't score on Friday, but obviously you have a bigger gap. I'm not sure what it's going to be down to after Friday's result. But you're still confident yourself and MLA can make it a double?
Absolutely, we are, I think, around 100 points in front, and that should be enough for for 3 races. And yeah, we hope to wrap it up at the next race.
Awesome stuff. All right, final question from myself. Dane, we will start with you. One championship, potential Constructors' Championship. Where do you go from here? What are your future racing goals? Do you want to be like Jono, double champion, or you want to beat him, be a triple champion? Or what are your goals as far as esports racing go?
Just want to keep improving on my pace. Winning another championship would be a dream, would be very, very good. But for now, I just want to keep improving on my pace and make sure I have the pace to fight with others all the time.
Awesome stuff. And Julian, obviously, we know you're retiring at the end of the season. You've got obviously uni, which is obviously more important. And as you say, you don't have that much time to, practice like some of the, your rivals. Just talk to us about, your decision to retire and do you think you'll ever return to racing?
Hard to say at the moment. I'm at a phase where I don't really have the motivation to continue playing the game regularly. And yeah, like you said, uni is also very draining and time consuming. But yeah, we will see what the future will bring us.
Awesome stuff. All right, boys. Well, as champions, you will, of course, receive trophies at the end of the season. So well done to both of you and enjoy your last 3 races. Best of luck in your Constructors Championship battle. Jono, thank you very much for joining us. Everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at One Hub Racing. 3 rounds to go, starting in Mexico on Friday. Looking forward to closing out the season in style. Thank you all for watching and have a good week.